Good morning and welcome back. It's literally 24 hours since I left Southampton, and you join us in the English Channel. Got quite a lot of dark clouds over here. There's just a squall that's passing through. I'm going to show you the chart here. I've taken a number of screenshots so I can illustrate where I am. Had a good night and cut up through the various traffic separation schemes and dodging around the wind farms, not by actively navigating around them, but rather by picking a course straight through them and then monitoring that course. I managed to get a pretty good sleep in 20-minute bursts, as you might imagine, and woke about 2 hours ago. And we're at a point now where we need to jibe over and start heading to the northwest, and the wind is really asking me to do that. At the moment, if you look at the top of the mast up here, okay, or for those who haven't got their specs on, you see how far around the needle is here. I'm actually 20 degrees starboard of course, 20 degrees more to the right, and that's keeping the wind at that angle, but the wind really wants me to turn and go over there. So I'm just letting this squall go through, and I was waiting a little earlier because there's a wind farm back there, so wait for the wind farm, wait for the squall, and then turn, and then we're going to have a lot more speed. We're doing about 8 or 9 knots at best. The other thing which is happening right now is that the tide is about to turn here in the English Channel. We've been swept through the narrowest part of the channel during the night by this extremely fortuitous / planned use of the tidal stream in the channel, and it works better than I could have expected. But I'm going to wait, and I was waiting, I have been waiting to jibe, not only for these immediate kind of tactical reasons around me now, but for the strategic reason that if I turn and put the starboard side of the boat against that current coming down from the north, I'm going to get swept sideways. I'm being affected by it a lot less as I drive forward now into it than if I turn 90 degrees and then start cutting across it. It'll damage the jibe, the angle of the jibe on the other side. So I'm waiting for the tide to turn, and it's turning right now. As you can see here on the chart, this is where the tide starts to turn, and we're exactly at that now. So there could be localized eddies, but overall within this half-hour period, this is the time to go. So I'm going to jibe the boat now. The GoPro is very low on power, unfortunately. It doesn't look like it was properly plugged in last night. So I'll get going into it, and then if we don't see all of it, well, we'll talk through what you can see, and then we'll come back to it another time and do another jibe. And of course it's going to rain. Well, there you go. That's good, because that means that's the back of that squall that's going through, and it is the right time to jibe. So we've got 2 reefs in the main, and we've got the little J5 up at the front that's been pulling all night. He's pretty happy. He doesn't need much doing. Time to go to work. Okay, so I've already gone and got the runner, which was tied up down there by the shrouds. The jib I can leave. I want to leave the jib because if I jibe and then something comes along, some giant gust of wind, and the boat starts to round up, the jib being backed will actually slow its progression up to windward on the other side. It's a way of stopping a windward broach. So what have we got to do? It's all about the backstays really. So I've got to get the main car of the mainsail, bring it up here, put it in the middle, start to tighten down the main, and as I do that I want to bring that backstay tight. So first things first, we've got to release the traveller car on the downside. Taking on the high side. Now I want to do this when the main sheet is still slack. If the main sheet was tight now, this would be a whole heap harder. Put another 10 degrees on the autopilot. The wind angle is changing as the squall goes through. So I'm just bringing the boat around to starboard a little bit more. I don't want the boat jibing accidentally until I'm ready for it to do so. Well, not that I'm ready for it to jibe accidentally, but this wouldn't be a very good place to be sitting if the main came through, right? Because the main sheet would go slack and I'd be under it. Secure the traveller on the downside. Okay, next job, take in a little bit on the runner. You don't want that moving around too much. Being extremely cautious there to make sure I'm not getting an override. It's not a great idea to pull rope through a winch like that. See how that jib's backing? Yeah, we're almost ready to jibe now. So again, I'm going to put 20 degrees on the helm. I really don't want to be in a situation where the main goes flying through. It's not very fair on the backstays when that happens. Okay, we'll get the jib ready while I'm waiting for it to change course. See that? See how it rode up on the back? We could just see it around the back of the winch there. Okay, not doing anything with it, just getting ready for it. We can change the grinder. I'm dilly-dallying a little bit because I'm waiting for the wind to pass through on this squall, which I think it's now done. Alright, let's grind the main in. And as soon as we've done this, we want to go back to the back of the boat and get that runner tight. You see how it's getting lower and lower and closer to the steering wheel. That's pretty good. We don't want to be stepping on rope too much. It'll be very slippery. See how it fell off? There's no weight on it. I know it's up above me now, so I've got to make sure it's as tight as possible. And now we're setting up the runner winch for actual grinding. So we've got it fully loaded, nice and clean, no overruns, no overrides rather. Okay, we get a little bit more on the main perhaps, and that just stops it being too harsh as it transfers through onto the other backstay. That's lovely. Oh, feels like the main's gone. So our emphasis has changed. That nice soft little movement there was the main still going through to the other side. So when we turn around, we have essentially jibed. Tight enough? Tight enough. Okay, you see now how the main is all up against the backstay. So then we got to get our backstay off and go and ease the main out on the other side. There we go. And we're almost dead downwind. Look at that, wing and wing. You don't often do that on a modern maxi. Okay, I think we'll let the car down actually. Don't really want to be passing over the main sheet more than I have to, and bring the autopilot round. Oh, hey buddy, give me what I want. There we go. So 20 degrees round to starboard, to port rather. Should port and starboard, still so tricky. That means that as I let the main sheet through, it's giving me a nice amount of pressure, pushing it over to the other side of the boat, Don't have to go too far. I like it like up on top of the side deck there. Secure this guy, secure this guy. And we'll go down here. We'll take in some of the slack, not necessarily all, because I want to be able to make adjustments to the traveler as I'm sailing. If I get too much of this, bring it through prematurely. Do you see how I'm leaning around this, but I'm not close in here, and I'm very, very aware of, I'm watching it all the time in case it starts to move towards me. If it started to come towards me, I can retrieve my arm very quickly. I'm also, you know, obviously as I'm very experienced with this boat, I'm feeling the boat, I'm feeling where it might move, but I'm not in any way just doing it unthinkingly. Whenever you're around the main sheet, even if it's a 30-foot boat, you've got to be extremely cautious of the boat's ability to pinch you with the main sheet, or if you're on a big boat like this, remove parts of your body. Okay, that's a good start. Let's go and give the jib what it wants. Go free, buddy. All right. Leave a turn on there. Then we know that it's in use but not actively working.